Hi, everyone. So for today, we're going to be taking a look at finding the area of a triangle using trigonometry. So earlier this week, you took a look at how to find the area of a triangle, and you noticed that the area of a triangle formula is 1/2 the base times the height. Now, something that's going to be super important when finding the area of a triangle, especially when we're using trigonometry, is the base and the height must be perpendicular. So from middle school, you guys probably remember the base always being at the bottom and kind of looking like this middle triangle right here. Well, with triangles, when you're finding the area, the base doesn't necessarily have to be at the bottom. It could be any of the sides of the triangle as long as you have a perpendicular length to the opposite vertex. So if you take a look at this triangle right here, because we have this perpendicular height going to this vertex, that means that this side would be the base. Okay, same goes over here. If we call this side the base, the height is that perpendicular distance to the opposite vertex. Okay, so again, like I said, today we're finding the area of a triangle using trigonometry. So make sure that you have a calculator. If you're using Desmos, that's totally fine. That's a great calculator to use, but please make sure that it's in degree mode. Remember, for Desmos, you can go up to the settings, click on degree. If you type in sine of 30, so let's take a look together. If we type in sine of 30, on any calculator, you should get 0.5 or 1/2. As long as you get that, then you're in degree mode. Okay, let's get started. So when we're using trigonometry to find the area of a triangle, the first thing we want to do is identify what information you're given. So identify if you're given the base or the height or both. Because we're going to be using trigonometry, we're most likely going to have to find one or the other. After that, then we want to determine what information is still needed to find the area. So if we're given the base, then you know you need to find the height to find the area, and vice versa. Then we get to step 3, which is where we're going to be using trigonometry. So we want to identify a right triangle in the figure that we can use trigonometry in order to find the information needed. So if we need the height, we want to find a right triangle that allows us to use trigonometry to find that height. Then once we have the base and the height, then we're finding the area of the triangle like normal, multiplying 1/2 times the base times the height. Okay, let's take a look at number 1. So for number 1, we have a triangle here. I see this perpendicular height, we can call it, because we're given the base. So since we're given the base, I know that I can call this the height, which will allow me to find the area. Now, after identifying that I need the height, I see that I have this right triangle right here. So this right triangle and this 43-degree angle. So I'm going to use trigonometry in order to find the height. So because I have this 43-degree angle, I'm trying to find the height, which is the opposite side. And then I'm given the 8 meters, which is the hypotenuse. So remember using SOHCAHTOA. Let's write that off to the side. So SOHCAHTOA. If you're trying to find the opposite side and you're given the hypotenuse, that's going to be sine. So we're going to say sine of 43 is equal to h over 8. Then what we're going to do is multiply both sides by 8. And we get that h is equal to 8 sine of 43. So we get h is approximately 8 sine of 43, approximately 5.5 meters. Now, once we have the height, we know our base is 12. Again, our height is approximately 5.5. So then our area is going to be 1/2 the base times the height. From here, you can plug that straight into a calculator. So we've got 1/2 times the base times the height. And we get our approximate area to be 33. meters, and then because it's area, squared. All right, moving on to number 2. So for number 2, I see that we have this triangle here. I have a 40-degree angle. I have a perpendicular distance from a vertex to an opposite side, meaning that my base is going to be 32 feet. And this distance is going to represent my height. Okay, so in order to find the height, we do need to use trigonometry. So let's focus in on a right triangle. I'm going to focus on this one right here because I'm given an angle, I'm given a side, and I'm able to find the height. Okay, so based on the angle, the height is my opposite side. The 18 feet is my hypotenuse. So very similar to number 1. We're going to be using sine because we're trying to find the opposite. We're given the hypotenuse. So sine of 40 is equal to h over 18. We're going to multiply both sides by 18. And we get h is equal to 18 sine 40. Plug that into a calculator. We get that h is approximately 11.6 feet. Okay, so our height is approximately 11.6 feet. Now to find the area, again, our area is equal to 1/2 the base times our height. So we can plug that into a calculator. We get our approximate area to be 1/2 times 32 times 11.6, which gives us approximately 185.6 feet squared. All right, let's move on to number 3. So number 3 is a little bit weird. The reason that it's weird is we're dealing with an obtuse triangle. You're given this 30-degree angle, but the perpendicular distance that you're given from a vertex to the opposite side is actually outside the triangle. So our base in this case is actually 7, and our height is actually outside the triangle. So our base is 7, the height we don't know. So we're actually focusing on this right triangle right here. Okay, so based on the 30-degree angle, the opposite side is our height. We're given the hypotenuse, which is 16. Because we're not given this distance right here, we can't use the adjacent side to the 30. So we have to use the opposite and the hypotenuse. So again, we're going to be using sine of 30 is equal to h over 16. Now, for those of you that remember special right triangles, here we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Across from the 30 is the short leg, so we already know that h should be 8. But if you don't remember that, that's okay. You can use trig, multiply both sides by 16, and we get h equals 16 sine 30. We get h is equal to 8. Again, if you don't believe me, plug it into a calculator. We've got 16 sine 30, and you get 8. Now, because we're not given units here, I'm just going to put 8 units. Okay, so it's actually an exact height, not an approximate, so 8 units. Now let's find our area. So our area is equal to 1/2 the base, which is 7, times our height, which is 8. Now this one, we don't even need a calculator for. We can just multiply straight out. So we get the area is equal to 7 times 8 is 56, divided by 2 is 28 units squared. All right, that's everything with area of a triangle using trigonometry. Please finish up your weekly assignment, which is due tomorrow, and get started on the edge elastic assignment. Have a great day, everyone.